an unconventional summer. Summer vacation had finally arrived, and I found myself alone at home. My mother, Sarah, had just returned from visiting her sister for a few days, only to leave again immediately to meet a friend. The week before, my father had left for a 2-month business trip, leaving me, an 18-year-old first-year university student, with the house to myself. I knew exactly how I wanted to spend my time. As soon as my mother's car pulled out of the driveway, I locked the front door, stripped down, gathered my usual supplies, tissues and liquid soap, and settled in for what I knew would be a long, satisfying session of self-pleasure. Time flew by as I indulged in my favorite pastime, taking short breaks to recharge and browse various adult websites. Before I realized it, over 4 hours had passed. Usually, Mom stayed out much longer when visiting her friend, but today, I was so engrossed, with earphones blocking out all external noise, that I didn't hear the front door open. Suddenly, my mother's voice, filled with shock and disbelief, cut through. "Oh my God, Jake, what are you doing? Stop that right now!" I froze, mortified, as she rushed out of my room. The shock of her sudden appearance left me stunned, unable to process what had just happened. As the reality of the situation sank in, my mind raced. What should I do? How could I explain this? After what felt like an eternity, I mustered the courage to approach her. I found her in the living room, her face marked by disappointment and embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, Mom," I stammered. "I didn't know you'd be back so soon. It won't happen again, I promise." She didn't say a word, just looked at me, visibly shaken, before silently heading to the kitchen. We spent the rest of the evening in awkward silence, sipping tea and avoiding eye contact. The tension was palpable, and I couldn't wait for the day to end. Despite the awkwardness, I couldn't resist the urge to finish what I'd started earlier. After dinner, I retreated to my room, leaving the door slightly ajar to hear when Mom finished the dishes. I thought I was being clever, but she had her own plan. She turned the kitchen faucet on full blast, masking the sound of her footsteps as she crept toward my room. I was completely unaware until her voice came from behind me. "It's okay, Jake. Don't make a fuss. Everything's fine." I nearly jumped, frantically trying to close the tabs on my screen. Mom stepped into the room, her eyes drawn to the adult content still visible. "I shouldn't have yelled at you earlier," she said, her voice slightly shaky. "At your age, it's normal." "I understand." "Mom, I'm so sorry," I began, but she cut me off. "Wait. I just want to know, how often do you do this?" Embarrassed but feeling I owed her honesty, I replied, "Well, every day, Mom. Sometimes multiple times." "How many times?" she pressed. 3 or 4, I guess." She nodded, processing the information. "Do you have a girlfriend?" "No, Mom," I said. She sighed. "Okay. I just want you to know I understand. You're young and your body has needs. Don't be shy with me about this. If you enjoy it, I don't want to stop you. But I can't go out 3 or 4 times a day so you can have privacy. Do what you need to do and ignore me, okay?" Before I could respond, she turned and left, leaving me utterly bewildered. How had this conversation ever happened? It felt surreal. A few days later, during dinner, Mom asked, "So, have you taken care of yourself today?" I nearly choked on my food. "Mom, I'm fine, you know. Jake, we agreed on this. Don't be shy with me. It's okay." "Yeah, I remember," I mumbled, still uneasy with the vibe. It's just, everything's fine. Good, my boy. Don't worry about it. Let's finish eating. I couldn't believe this was happening. It felt like I was living in another reality. After dinner, I retreated to my room, still processing this strange new normal. Minutes later, Mom appeared in my doorway, wearing her usual robe. Go on, play one of your videos, she said casually. Mom, please don't do this, I pleaded, my face burning with embarrassment. No, Jake, we need to get past this awkwardness, she insisted. Let's watch yesterday's video. What's it about? Reluctantly, I typed in the search terms and pulled up the video we'd accidentally seen together. She asked me to turn up the volume, and I complied silently. She stood beside me, watching with what seemed like genuine interest. Our eyes met briefly, and I quickly looked away, focusing on the screen. Go ahead, Jake, she encouraged. Do what you usually do. She left briefly, returning with a chair she placed next to mine. We sat in silence, watching the video together. After a few minutes, she spoke again. All right, my boy, you can do this whenever you want now. Don't worry about me being home. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I was in another dimension. Had that really happened? Had I really watched adult videos with my mother? It seemed absurd but strangely thrilling. Later that day, feeling bold, I decided to test the waters. I played the same video from yesterday, slowly turning up the volume so it could be heard in the kitchen. The sound of grocery bags stopped, and moments later, I heard her footsteps approaching. My heart raced as she appeared in the doorway, a small smile on her lips. She walked over and gently ruffled my hair. Good boy, Jake. Go on, have fun. With that, she left, leaving the door open. I sat there, both relieved and oddly disappointed. Then I noticed something strange. The apartment was completely silent. Curious, I slipped out of my room to investigate. Mom's bedroom door was closed, unusual for 7 p.m. As I wondered what to do, she called from the kitchen. Lunch is ready, Jake. Come eat. 1 minute, I said, eyes still on the screen. Jake, it'll get cold, she insisted, finally pulling me away from the computer. Lunch was quiet, with minimal conversation. I asked if she'd heard from Dad and when he'd be back. Her face fell slightly as she said his trip had been extended. I miss him, she said, a note of sadness in her voice. Despite the day's events, a certain tension lingered, but as the day went on, the atmosphere relaxed. We had some normal conversations, smiling and joking like we used to. That evening, we watched a few episodes of Game of Thrones together before retiring to our rooms. It was almost 11 p.m., but I wasn't ready to sleep. I decided to indulge in my nightly ritual, this time on the living room's big TV for a change. I'd barely settled in when Mom emerged from her room, as if drawn by a sixth sense. Oh, you're watching that here? She asked, sitting beside me on the couch. Next time, call me. I want to watch too. What, you two? I asked, surprised. Well, when I'm home, yes. Call me, and we'll watch together. As we sat, she broke the silence. You like this actress? Yeah, Mom. She was in yesterday's video too. Did you know she's 47? 10 years younger than you, but still, she looks great. Mom laughed. I agree. She must work out a lot. I smiled, relieved we could joke about it. Suddenly, she stood. Where are you going? I asked. I'll be right back. I have a gift for you. I forgot. She returned moments later, hands behind her back. Guess what it is? She teased. No idea, I said, playing along. I don't have a clue what you're hiding. She grinned, pleased with my reaction, and handed me a small black bag. I thought this might be useful. I don't know, I've never used them myself. Inside was a pair of high-quality earphones. I looked up, seeing her satisfied smile. You like them, kiddo? Wow, thanks, Mom, I said, genuinely touched. Let's try them out, she encouraged, urging me to test the sound quality. I felt a mix of emotions. Part of me was disappointed it was just earphones, but another part was relieved it wasn't something bizarre, like a sex toy. It was a thoughtful gift, cementing our new understanding without crossing any lines. That's enough for tonight, she said, standing. Time for bed. I'll clean up here. Good night, Mom, I replied, heading to my room. Good night, Jake. As I lay in bed, my mind raced, marveling at how quickly my relationship with my mother had changed. I wondered what might happen in the days to come, both excited and nervous about this new dynamic. The next morning, I woke with a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. The past few days had completely altered my relationship with Mom, and I wasn't sure how to navigate this new reality. In the kitchen, she was already preparing breakfast, greeting me with a warm smile as if nothing unusual had happened. Morning, Jake. Sleep well? Yeah, thanks, I mumbled, still a bit uneasy. The new earphones are awesome, Mom. She nodded, pleased. Glad you like them? I thought they'd be useful. We ate breakfast in comfortable silence, the tension from previous days seeming to fade. As I finished my coffee, Mom cleared her throat. Jake, I've been thinking. We should probably set some ground rules for our new arrangement. My face flushed, but I nodded for her to continue. First, this stays between us. Your father doesn't need to know about our little understanding, okay? I agreed, relieved she felt the same. Second, if you're going to take care of yourself in the living room, let me know. I don't want to walk in on you again. I nodded, grateful for her surprisingly pragmatic approach. Finally, she added, her voice softer, if you ever want to talk about anything, and I mean anything, I'm here. I won't judge you, okay? I nodded, feeling a surge of affection for her. Despite the awkwardness, Mom was genuinely trying to support me. Okay. Over the next few days, we settled into a new routine. I continued my usual activities but with a newfound sense of freedom. Mom kept her word, never making me feel ashamed or embarrassed. One evening, about a week after our first conversation, I was in the living room watching a particularly steamy video on the big screen. I'd warned Mom as agreed, so I wasn't worried about her walking in. To my surprise, she joined me on the couch, a glass of wine in hand. Mind if I watch with you? She asked casually. I shrugged, trying to seem nonchalant despite my racing heart. Sure, if you want. We sat in silence for a while, the only sound coming from the TV. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Mom's reactions. She seemed genuinely intrigued, occasionally sipping her wine and shifting in her seat. She's pretty hot, Mom said, nodding at the actress on screen. What do you like about her? I hesitated, unsure how to respond. Well, I guess I like her confidence, and her curves. Mom chuckled. Yeah, I noticed that. You know, I had a figure like that before I had you. I looked at her, surprised by her candor. You're still beautiful, Mom, I said, feeling awkward complimenting her in this context. She smiled, pleased. Thanks, Jake. That's sweet of you. As the video continued, I felt increasingly aroused, despite, or maybe because of, Mom's presence. I tried to stay stoic, hiding my reaction. Noticing my discomfort, she said, Jake, honey, it's okay. Remember what I said, don't be shy with me. If you need to relieve yourself, go ahead. I froze, unsure I'd heard right. What, here? Now? She nodded, her expression reassuring. If you want. I don't mind. I could even give you some pointers if you'd like. Her suggestion blew my mind, surpassing anything I'd imagined when this new dynamic began. Part of me wanted to retreat to my room, embarrassed, but a stronger part was intrigued by her offer. Slowly, hesitantly, I nodded. Okay, I murmured, barely audible. Mom set down her wine glass and turned to me. All right, let's start with the basics. Relax. You need to be completely relaxed. Take deep breaths. I followed her instructions, feeling some tension leave my body. Good, she continued. Now start slowly, but don't rush. Following her guidance, I began, acutely aware of her presence beside me. It was surreal, having my mother guide me through such an intensely private act, but I couldn't deny the thrill it sparked. She offered more suggestions, her voice soft and encouraging. That's it, focus on what feels good. Nice and steady, keep your rhythm. Her words, combined with the visual stimulation and the novelty of the situation, quickly brought me to the edge. Mom, I'm close, I said hurriedly. It's okay, honey. Let go, don't hold back, she murmured. With a muffled groan, I reached my peak, waves of pleasure washing over me. As I came down from the high, I felt a mix of embarrassment and exhilaration. Mom handed me a box of tissues, a small smile on her face. Feel better? I nodded, unable to meet her gaze. Yeah, thanks, Mom. She patted my knee affectionately. You're welcome, Jake. Glad I could help. Now why don't you clean up while I get dinner ready? As I headed to the bathroom, my head spun. What had just happened? How had we gone from an awkward confrontation to something straight out of a wild movie? And more importantly, how far would this go? Over the next few weeks, our unconventional arrangement evolved. Mom became more involved, offering tips and occasionally joining me to watch videos. She never participated directly, but her presence and guidance added an exciting new dimension to my experiences. One afternoon, as we sat together on the couch, Mom turned to me with a serious expression. Jake, we need to talk about something important. My heart raced, wondering if she had doubts about our arrangement. What's up, Mom? She took a deep breath. I want you to know what we're doing isn't typical. Most mothers and sons don't have this kind of relationship. I nodded, a knot of guilt forming in my stomach. I know. Do you want to stop? To my surprise, she shook her head. No, that's not it. I just want to make sure you understand this is a private, special moment. It doesn't change our core relationship. I'm still your mother, and I love you as my son. This is just an unusual way to support you at this stage of your life. Her words both reassured and unsettled me. I understand, Mom. I love you too, and I'm grateful for your support. But why are you okay with this? Most moms wouldn't do this for their son. She was quiet for a moment, reflecting. I guess it's because I remember how confusing and overwhelming those feelings can be at your age. I didn't have anyone to guide me, so I made bad choices. I want better for you. I want your generation to be comfortable with your sexuality, to understand it without the shame and secrecy I experienced. Her honesty touched me deeply. Thanks, Mom. That means a lot. She smiled and hugged me. You're welcome, honey. How about we watch something calmer tonight? I heard there's a new nature documentary on Netflix. As we settled in to watch the documentary, I felt gratitude and even more appreciation for Mom. Despite the unconventional nature of our relationship, her motivations came from love and a desire to protect me. The weeks flew by, and before I knew it, Dad's return was approaching. Mom and I knew our special arrangement would have to change once he was back. The night before his return, Mom came to my room. Jake, we need to talk. I nodded, setting aside the book I was reading. Sure, Mom. What's up? She sat on the edge of my bed, her expression serious. Your father's coming home tomorrow, and things will have to go back to normal. I just wanted to check in, see how you feel about everything. I considered her question carefully. I'm okay, Mom. I mean, I'll miss our arrangement, but I understand it can't continue with Dad here. She nodded, relieved. I'm glad you understand. And Jake, I'm proud of you. You've grown a lot these past weeks. I hope what we've shared has helped you in some way. It has, Mom, I assured her. More than you know. Thank you for everything. She leaned forward and kissed my forehead, something she hadn't done since I was a kid. You're welcome, honey. Remember, even if this particular part of our relationship ends, I'm always here if you need to talk about anything. As she stood to leave, I called out, Mom. She turned. I love you, I said. Her face softened into a warm smile. I love you too, honey. The next day, Dad returned, and our household dynamic reverted to what it was before. But something had changed between Mom and me. We shared a secret, a bond that went beyond the typical mother-son relationship. In the years that followed, I often reflected on that summer. Some might view what happened as inappropriate, but for me, it was a time of growth, understanding, and unconditional love. My mother's unorthodox approach gave me a confidence and self-awareness many of my peers lacked. As I navigated relationships and my own sexuality at university, I carried the lessons she taught me. Her openness and acceptance shaped me in ways I'm only beginning to understand. Our relationship remained strong, even if we never spoke directly about that summer again. It was our secret, a chapter that brought us closer while teaching us invaluable lessons about love, trust, and self-acceptance. Looking back, I realized that what might seem unconventional to others was, for us, a beautiful expression of a mother's love and a son's trust. It was a summer that changed everything and nothing at the same time.